Okay, welcome to another webinar from Equipment Zone. We are lucky today. We have part of our interview series, Easy Interviews. Today, I'm lucky and excited because I have a friend of mine and a colleague, Matthew Rhome. Matt is with Epson America and is in business development. You have probably seen Matt at several trade shows. Remember the good old days when we used to go to trade shows? I know those days will be back, but I'm lucky because I've got some questions queued up, and this will be a real dialogue, bantering back and forth between myself, Jay Bussell, and Matt Rhome. And Matt is, to give you a little background, I do believe, Matt, that I have seen pictures. They are confidential, they are appropriate, but pictures of you setting up one of your original printers in a trade show booth at an ISS show in Long Beach about 1,000 years ago. Was that really you in that picture?
Yeah, hard to believe.
Hard to believe. For those of you who don't know, Matt is the original patent holder on the DTG printer. Not what we see today, but where it was about, what, 20, 22, 25 years ago, somewhere in that range?
Yes.
Yeah, unbelievable, right? Think about it.
Yeah. Hey, it's been a long time. You know, the first machine I brought out in 96 for public consumption, the Revolution, had it at the ISS and the SGIA shows that year. And it was a great machine. It was just way ahead of its time, and it was very expensive. It was more than the printers are today.
Wow, I didn't know that. I've never asked you about the pricing, but what a timeline, what a ride you've had, and to see you now, you're all cleaned up and wearing Epson blue, and look at you with a big old smile. I mean, you've come a long way, brother.
It's great.
It is great. Well, we're lucky to have you. I don't want to spend too much time chit-chatting, but I appreciate your time today, and thank you for joining us. We've got a lot of folks tuned in. For those who are tuned in, I have 5 or 6 questions prepared ahead of time. We're going to deal with those first. I will scan through the chat, and Matt, you can also see that chat is open. For those of you who have a quick question or want to clarify something, you're welcome to hit us up with a little bit of information through the Zoom webinar chat. But otherwise, this will pretty much be between the two of us. And Matt, is there anything else we need to set the stage for? A little background? Are you ready to rock?
No, let's get going.
Let's get going. Okay, I love that. So let me go back and I'll share my screen again. We'll go to Q1 here. And let's see, here we go. Question number 1. Matt, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, here we go. So question number 1 is, why is it important to know who makes, can you see that question right there?
I got it.
Who makes your equipment, and to know what you're buying? Who is behind the DTG printer? I'm sure this would apply to all equipment. You would probably agree, but yeah, we'll try to frame this into why is it important to know who makes that printer, who makes that equipment?
Well, it's 2 things, Jay. It's number 1 is who you're going to buy from, number 1, and then who makes the equipment that you're going to be buying. So it's 2 things, you know, in our world, it's a dealer. In the Epson world, it's a dealer. Okay. And then also it's who's the manufacturer. You know, most DTG equipment manufacturers, there's a few that don't, but most sell. So when you're buying equipment from Epson, you don't buy it directly from Epson, even though our name's on it. We have dealers throughout the US and Canada and really the world that sell our equipment. So it's very important, number 1, to know who the dealer is. And that is because, you know, different dealers specialize in different products. Some dealers are really good in the garment industry. Some are good in the digital industry. So it's very important that you pick a dealer that's going to be able to help you. Yeah, train you.
Yeah, good point. No, I hadn't considered that. I as you said that, sorry to cut you off, I'm thinking through what you just said about different dealers have different strengths maybe. And I know people assume we're only a reseller of the DTG line, and that's not true. We love all of the Epson printers. We sell all of the Epson printers. In fact, we're one of the only exclusive Epson resellers / dealers. But anyway, I love what you said about they have different strengths.
Yes, it is. It's very true. And you've got to talk and know who you're going to buy from. Are they going to be there to help you? You know, don't just buy a box from anybody. No matter what dealer or what machine that you're going to buy, don't buy a box. Get somebody that stands behind it and is going to be there to help you. That's your partner in business.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, listen, Matt, you know, a lot of people ask us about, since Equipment Zone is a national dealer, and we hear a lot at times, but we do hear this often. Well, I want to buy from my local guy. I think what you're saying is, I get that. I do. I understand. There's a loyalty to be had. It's important to support a local person and to be able to maybe drive across town and physically meet somebody. But I think it's also important to go back to what you said about, you know, the strengths of that dealer and the support that might come with it. So,
yes. Well,
you know,
buying local's great. I live in a very small town and we try to buy local whenever we can because it's important to support the local person. But in the case of the F2100 DTG printer, you know, it's really not that important to buy local. Okay. Now you're saying, well, why is that? Well, here's the thing. The support on the printer, if something goes wrong with your printer, it doesn't fall on the dealer to make repairs or to help you with that. That's
thank
our
God.
machine. Our name's
Thank
on the
God
front.
Jay's not coming out to help fix your printer,
Right.
because that's not a.
Well, our name's on the front. So when you have a problem with your machine, if it breaks down or you have technical support issues, you call Epson. You deal with us directly. Because again, like I said, our name's on the front. So having a local dealer, it's not that important. It's more important of who makes the machine and who stands behind it. Okay. So that's important to know that. You know, maybe your local dealer may be great at certain things, but maybe they're not that great at DTG. You know, there's so many people have popped up selling DTG equipment. You don't know if this guy has ever sold one before or even trained somebody. So you should go and interview the dealer before you purchase equipment, no matter what brand of equipment that you're looking at.
That's a really great point. We're going to dive in a little deeper on that exact point here in just a minute. Matt, something came to my mind as we were talking about this in terms of, I know we're not going to get into the specifics of this, but maybe just in generalities, is it true that other manufacturers do not use that same type of channel that Epson does? So for example, you guys have taken the stance that Epson is on the front of the machine, loud and proud, right? Epson is the manufacturer of the print head, of the printer, of all the components, of the ink, of the software. You know, everything's a match, everything's a system. But that's probably not the case with some of the other folks. Is that true to say? Is that fair to say?
It's very true. You know, there's only a few, very small number of people in the worldwide that make print heads. Epson happens to be one of them. A lot of printers out there do not make their own machine. It is really something. When you're talking about ISS Long Beach, when I was at ISS Long Beach just last year, I noticed a bunch of machines out there, different machines people I never knew were selling DTG. There were machines I'd never heard of, and some of them were no more than some guy imported a machine from China or other places in the world and slapped his name on it. He put a sticker on it. It's just a sticker. Do you know who made this machine? No. Do you know what print heads? No. Who makes the ink? You don't know. The big thing about a direct-to-garment machine is the ink and the print head. Those are the two most important components. Now, when you're a manufacturer like Epson is of the print head, you can tweak the print head, you can tweak the ink, and you can make a lot of different changes to make sure that ink flows correctly, that you have good durability in the print head, and then take it one step further. The electronics, do the electronics work with a print head? There's a lot of guys that will buy our desktop printers and hack them apart and try to make some Frankenstein machine. That's just crazy.
Yeah, and we hear it and see it, and it's so tough for us because I guess there's a part of me that understands that entrepreneur or somebody who wants to save. They think they're saving a tremendous amount of money, but what they're not, they're short-sighted because they haven't had this training and this education. They haven't listened to someone like you, a seasoned veteran, who's able to give them perspective that says you might think you're saving a couple $1,000s on the front end, but you have a storm of brewing on the back end with service, with support, with who knows what's in those inks and all of that. So
it's true.
Let's advance to the next question because we're going to get in a little bit deeper on that. Here we have question 2, which says, you Matt, you stress reading the warranty before you buy, emphasis on before. So what would you say? Would you share some specific points with us?
Well, this is one of my,
what to look for?
Yeah, this is my favorite subject. I love this, A lot of people will buy machines or other equipment, they'll buy a DTG, they'll buy a screen print, they'll even buy a car, and they'll never look at the warranty. And then when they get into an issue, they'll be like, wow, I'm having a problem and the dealer or the manufacturer is not going to cover it, or they may not even know who the manufacturer is.
Right.
So I stress anybody with any machine out there on the market, before you purchase it, you need to read the warranty. Now, some highlights that you need to look at in the warranty is, number one is, do they offer on-site repair? Okay. Why is that important? Well,
I'm writing this down. Look at me. I got my notes. I'm writing this down.
Hey, good. Well,
on-site repair.
On-site repair, number one. Okay. You got to have on-site repair. A DTG machine is huge. It weighs a lot. You need someone to come out and repair that machine if it breaks at your location. Okay. You can't put it in a box and ship it back to the manufacturer or whatever. You can't do that. You're in business. When your machine's down, you're not making money.
Yeah.
You have to have on-site repair. The other thing is, if it does offer on-site repair, what's the time frame? You have to have a time frame. Now, in the Epson warranty, it states 48 hours. And that's pretty good.
I mean, in terms of a response time.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
I thought you were thinking that the duration of that, how long does that on-site repair last? But you clarified that.
48 hours. We're going to come out.
Matt, the first time I heard that, I heard it from Terry Combs. And it was when he started first working for Epson, for Equipment Zone. And I said, it was the F2000. I said, Terry, come on. There's no freaking way that Epson's going to be on my doorstep in 48 hours. He goes, I'm telling you, Jay, they have the network. They have the people. I said, that is the single biggest advantage. I mean, as an outsider looking in, unbiased, I was blown away, Matt, when I first heard that.
Yeah, and it's very important, because how can you run your business if your machine's down? And Epson, we want your machine to work. We want you to be successful. We're your partner. So another thing with that too is, let's talk about extended warranties. A way to tell if a printer manufacturer really believes in their product is they will offer an extended warranty or a service agreement. That's always important to look at. At Epson, we're so confident in our print heads and our ink that we're willing to have an extended service agreement for a second and a third year. See if any other manufacturers offer that.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it's important.
Yes.
You think about the confidence that you would have as a buyer to know that, first there'll be a little pushback. Well, why isn't it included? 3 years, it should just be included. It's like, well, first of all, that's not the industry standard.
Right.
But second of all, it says that you are confident about it. I've recently heard another manufacturer push back on that and say, well, why do they only offer it for the first year? Think about that. And I was like, I don't even understand your point. The fact that it's included in the first year and I have an opportunity to add it for 2 more as a service agreement totally makes sense to me. What am I missing with that? Why are people pushing back on that?
I have no clue. Our warranty is for the whole machine for 1 year. Everything.
Everything, top to bottom, inside out.
Top to bottom, inside out, everything. You can, it's covered. And then you can extend extended service agreement for a second and third year. And it's just like getting insurance on a car. You know, you hope you never have to use it, but if you do, wow, it's right there. You know, and it's not that expensive. It's a very inexpensive service agreement. And I recommend everyone to purchase that.
One of the things you've brought up in the past that really hit me, Matt, was that this is available for anyone to go see right now. You can
Yes.
download and read this thing. It's not like you're hiding it, right? Epson has it
No.
on their website.
If you go to Epson.com and you go to the 2100 page and then go to downloads, you can download the warranty and read it right now. And the beauty is of our warranty versus other people's is it's what I call a no asterisk warranty. And you're like, what's that? Well,
Yeah,
you ever look at these warranties and there's asterisks all over, see below, see below, see below, and then you see below and it's in this really small type that you have to get a magnifying glass out, and then you have to have a law degree from Yale or Harvard to understand it. Our warranty is not that way. It's very simple. It's 3 pages long, very easily read. There's no bunch of tons of asterisks to see below. It explains itself. I want everyone before they buy a machine to read our warranty. And if you're looking at some of our competitions, read their warranty too. Understand it. It's very important.
Excellent points, Matt. Anything else as it relates to on-site repair or extended warranties? Anything you want to cover, other points? I think you did well. I'm just, before we move forward.
Well, again, just
I know it's one of your favorite topics, so that's
it is my favorite. We could talk all day just on warranty. You know,
I don't know if Harry would let me talk all day about warranties, but I've got a few other things to do, and I know you
all
do
right.
too,
So let's talk about something else then.
All right. So let me get back to advancing our question number 3, which is coming right up here. Question 3. Which is the next question, because that's 2. Why, Matthew Rhome, why is it critical to know the person who is going to be training you? And I've literally heard you in the Epson booth make that statement, and I never forgot it, because I thought, again, Matt's sharing his little pearls of wisdom here. That's really smart. Tell us more about that.
Well, again, like I said, there's so many people out there, you know, that have jumped on the DTG bandwagon. There's people selling machines now that, like, it's hard to believe I will make this statement, but it's true, that I've never heard of. I have people ask me about different printers all the time. They've seen it on eBay. They've seen them one time at a trade show. I've never heard of them. I have no clue who they are.
Right.
So are they just some guy that put a sticker on a machine they imported, or are they some guy that just, you know, found some machines that fell off a turnip truck, right? So they may not know anything about the industry, or if they, you know, even know how to train you correctly. Now with Epson on the F2100, the dealers are required to train you. That is a requirement. So you have to be trained. So what I recommend people do is they interview who's going to train you. A lot of times, I know with Equipment Zone, they'll bring to a trade show actually their trainers, and you can talk to them. Now I know in the coronavirus world, since we don't have trade shows, you know, you may want to know who's going to train you. So call up, ask. Talk to them, ask them some questions about what they're going to be doing, what they're going to be covering.
What would be a question that you might ask someone?
Well, I would ask, you know, where are we going to start? What kind of tools are necessary? And then I would go into how many people have you trained? Okay.
Yeah,
do you want some guy training you that's like, this is my first or second, or, you know, this isn't what I normally do. I train on other equipment, and just so happen, you know, now I'm training on a DTG printer. Yeah. You want someone that understands the printer, that understands your business, what you're doing. And here's another tip. Whenever you're being trained, use your files. Don't use the canned files that people are printing stuff at the show that looks great and excellent, be trained with your files. You need to know if the machine's going to work correctly and it's going to match your colors. Is it going to print your graphics? So that's another thing that you should do during the training process. But again, going back, interview the trainer.
Yeah.
This is very important.
How in terms of training, what would you, I'm just curious, this is off the cuff, this is off script, so forgive me. Would you be surprised, Matt, if I told you, and I know this because I can hear him right now, Roy is in another room. We do virtual trainings now because of the Corona pandemic. And so he spends, I'm not exaggerating, he spends between 4 and 6 hours doing a virtual setup. Would that time surprise you?
No, I think that's really a good time. Virtual, I know on site may take a little longer.
Yeah,
just
I was
logistics.
impressed. I don't want to dislocate my shoulders on patting myself on the Equipment Zone back, but a shout out to Roy and our tech team and others that are, we have Roy here in Arizona, we have a few others in New Jersey, so we have a pretty big tech team. Maybe some have said the biggest technical team specific for DTG printing. But the fact that we've installed and trained hundreds, probably, I think it's fair to say thousands by now, if you include the F2000. I guess what I mean is that brings experience, and that's important. And,
yes,
and that's why I love the fact that you teach and train people across the board, whether they were buying a vinyl cutter or an embroidery machine, but specific to DTG printing, to get to know the people, specifically who, as well as the company, what is their background and how much do they have in terms of, tech support and training. It's huge.
Well, I would say probably Equipment Zone's trained thousands of people on DTG over the years, because I know Equipment Zone's been in this since the big boom. Let's call this the big boom happened in 2005 on DTG.
Rush.
Even though I came out with a machine in '96, took a few years to catch on. So
you were just a pioneer, Matt. You were an
you know what happens to pioneers? They end up being full of arrows left out on the prairie. Okay. So
apparently that's you're still pulling a few out. Is that right?
Yeah.
96.
I know Equipment Zone's trained thousands. And like I said, it's very important because I've found customers that are trained correctly get up and going. Right. They feel more confident. Their business gets going. They're making more money. They're not fumbling around trying this setting, that setting, or what have you. And that's another thing about Epson. Like, for instance, our software is called Garment Creator. You can go and download Garment Creator right now from Epson.com, 2100 site, go to downloads. You can download Garment Creator, which is the software that drives the printer, and you can learn it right now. So if you call and have this interview with your trainer, he may tell you, hey, before I get there, I want you to download this, try it out, make sure it runs on your computer.
We have a 5-page PDF document that's proprietary to us that steps through everything with links on where to go, all of the accessories that you're going to need, everything you need before we really get to training. And then, we have a series of people that call and check in to make sure that that's happened, that they're prepared, that they're ready, because it's frustrating for both parties really when they're not ready. They haven't even pulled it out of the box yet. And then we have a training for 4, 5, 6 hours set up, and they're not ready. So we do it. We take that pretty serious. We take it very serious. And to your point, Matt, if I could just build on that, it's not, again, to say so much that, I guess I'll be transparent. It is an advantage for us. I mean, it is. It's one of the things we talk about. It's one of the service points we bring up all the time. It's what our sales team is very good at reminding buyers. But I want to say this from the heart. There is no greater satisfaction for me as an individual who's aligned himself with Equipment Zone to hear people say, I've never gotten better training on any other piece of equipment ever. And I feel so confident, and I've already made money with this thing. I'm already making money with this. It's like, that's like, music to my ears, because it's like, this is why we do what we do. Yes, we have to sell a printer, but it's really the means to the ends. It builds the bridge to an entrepreneur who's going to make an impact in some small way. And I don't mean to get too long-winded here, but think of all the fundraisers we've seen over the years, Matt. Think of
Right.
all of the money that's
Exactly.
been raised for causes and purposes and missions that are
It's
critical
true.
because of a t-shirt.
Yes, it's great.
It's huge.
It
All
is.
right, so that was my soapbox. Thanks for letting me stand on it for a minute. Anything more to add with question 3 about why training, and anything you want to talk about before I move forward?
No, I think we're good. Like I said, make sure you interview the trainer. That's very important. That's another top point.
All right, question number 4. Are you ready, Matt? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm here.
Matt, this is a little more technical, so I'm definitely going to listen in and take some notes. But why? Oh, we already asked you that question. How safe are these inks? We talk about inks, we talk about DTG inks. How safe are these inks for me, my employees, and of course for my customers?
Well, it's really funny. I was at a trade show a couple years ago, and I overheard. I was taking a break, and I was sitting in one of the cafes. Actually, again, it was ISS Long Beach, and there was a guy sitting next to me, and he was telling one of his customers, "Oh yeah, DTG inks are safe. They're water based. They're completely safe." And I just could not believe it. I had to hold my tongue. You know, the thing is, just because inks are water based doesn't mean that they're safe. It doesn't. And this is something else it's, people need to investigate. Not all inks are the same. Okay. Again, going back to who manufactures your machine, it should be who manufactures your inks. There's
Yeah.
only a couple ways to tell.
I was just going to say, how would you know? I mean,
Well,
trust what's on the label and
no, you
cross
can't
your
do
fingers
that.
and pray, right?
No,
Because
you cannot do
we've
that.
all seen those carts get changed and relabeled and repackaged, etc. So how would I know?
Exactly. Well, and third-party inks out there, people don't know what's in them. So here's the thing. By federal law, you have to provide, when you sell a raw product, you have to provide something called I'm old, so I call it MSDS, but it's called now the SDS. It's shortened up. So what does that mean? So SDS is a safety data sheet. Now, if you look at safety data sheets for ink and pre-treat, what it's going to tell you is if there are any ingredients that are harmful or that you need to be worried about. Okay. So if you go down, it will list, hey, if you're using this, you have to wear, a respirator, you have to wear a cover. This is something that will cause harm to your eyes. If it splashes in your eyes. There's other people that live in California know this very well. When you walk into a supermarket, there's a big sign that tells you, hey, there could be stuff in the supermarket that could cause issues.
The
So the
California
same,
Prop 65, is that the,
yes.
yeah.
So yeah, you need to look at the MSDS. Now the MSDS is to make sure that you and your employees are safe. The user of the machine, that's for you
Yeah, right.
to
Because
know in
you
the
will
raw
be around the
form.
inks, you will be handling inks, even though they're in
Right.
cartridges. You could get
Well,
ink on you. It's
or more important than this. So let's say that you had an ink or a pre-treat that had something that was harmful.
Yeah.
And you heat press it, it's going to turn to steam, right? And if you're standing by the heat press, what's going to happen? You're going to breathe that in.
It's going to evaporate. Yeah.
Exactly. And so you really want to make sure that you read and do this before you buy. You can download the SDS from most manufacturers. So download, read the safety data sheet. Understand if there's anything harmful in these in the raw form.
So I have to believe, since we're talking about this topic, and I led you down the road of how safe are these inks, that you're going to be able to tell me confidently that the Epson inks are safe.
Yes, they are
Okay.
safe.
And are there some standards that I should know about?
Well, here's the thing, and this
manage
is
that, because
well,
I hear that thrown around at shows all the time.
oh
Well,
yeah,
these are Okie Techs or some, I don't even know what
right.
that means. Is
Well,
some,
here I'll explain it to you. So
okay.
there's two different things to look at. The first is the Okie Tech. Okay. So you need to look at Okie Tech. Now, what it does, let me tell you a story, because I'm good at stories. So a few years ago, there was a lot of imports coming into the United States. And what they found was some of these imports weren't safe. Like, for instance, there were rubber duckies that were coming in, and they had chemicals in them to make them soft. Okay.
Right.
So I know of one case where there were some pajamas that were imported, and it was basically like the people had printed them with kerosene. They were very flammable. They had bad stuff on them. So anyway, the U.S. government, actually President Bush, reinforced the Child Protection Safety Act, CPSA. Okay. Now, what this act says is for children 13 years of age and younger, if you're producing a product for them, you can't have certain chemicals or things in that product. For instance, phthalates, a lot of screen printers know about this. Phthalates, you can't have lead, you can't have cadmium or different carcinogens. And if you do, they can only be to a very minuscule amount. Okay.
Yeah, gotcha.
So the government passed this regulation, but they didn't pass any kind of certification. There is no CPSA certification. They left it to private companies. So what most people do is they use Okie Tech. Now, Okie Tech certifies their testing standard that those harmful substances are not in. Now, this is the important part, though. Important part.
Oh, okay, I'm listening. I'm about to write this down.
This is what you're going to find out.
This is the deep dive that I told people about.
This is it right here. Okie Tech certifies after finishing. Okay?
After finishing.
After finishing. So when the shirt's ready to go to the customer, okay, after it's been, in our case in DTG, is after it's dried and cured. And the same as screen printing. After it's dried and cured, that's when they do the test. Are there any harmful substances after it's been finished? So remember, Okie Tech protects your customer that you printed the goods for they will know there's nothing harmful in the finished garment. Okay. Mm-hmm. SDS, though,
right,
knowing that it protects the operator or the user of the machinery that produces this garment. It ensures that there's nothing harmful, or tells you if there is anything harmful.
Yeah, right. And to what level is that toxic?
Exactly.
And then what would you have to do?
In the raw state.
Okay.
Yes. So that's why you need to look at both. You just can't look at one or the other. It's very important, and if you go around and look at a lot of different manufacturers now, they have Okie Tech. I know on some of the heat applied vinyls and towels and t-shirts that they actually have Okie Tech certification now too. It's not just ink manufacturers or equipment manufacturers.
So let me ask you a tough question. You don't have to name names, and I know you wouldn't and you shouldn't, but to put it into context, making a comparison. We're making the Epson case. Obviously, we're biased. We know that. We admit that freely. Are there other manufacturers of ink that we should be worried about? Like, again, no need to say who, but is that something we should look for that? If that's a problem, I mean, we need to know that.
Well, it is, and it is a big problem. And a lot of people overlook this, okay? That they don't really understand. This is a subject I bring up whenever I do my seminars, and I would say 90% of the people in the room don't know what I'm talking about because it's a subject that's really not brought up. A lot of screen printers know about this because they just had the phthalates removed from plastisol a few years ago.
Right.
But most other people don't. And it is something that needs to be addressed. You know, like I said before, you sometimes get machines, you get ink from people you've never even heard of, or third-party ink. There's a reason their ink's cheaper. You know, you need to take a look and request the SDS before you buy the machine, every machine, not just Epson, every machine, and understand if there is anything harmful. If someone is unwilling to give you an SDS, that should be a big red flag that you might want to look elsewhere.
Yeah, good point. Somebody, I think it was Richard Greaves, asked if I don't know, is it an acronym that we're spelling out? OK, the OK Tech or OK Techs?
No, no, that's the name. It's OK Tech. If you go to Epson.com 2100 and you go to supplies and look down, you will see the little OK Tech badge, and you can click on that. That will take you to the OK Tech site. OEKO dash, that's how you spell it.
Okay, great. I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to fumble that one. Matt, let's go to our
hold on. There's one more thing let's talk about.
Okay.
See, you got me going now.
I got you all fired up now.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Number one question I get asked is, how durable is this ink? Number two is how much does it cost to print? But number one is, how durable is this?
Meaning, how long will it last? How long will this ink last?
How long will it last? You know, is this going to wash out?
Is it comparable to screen printing?
Screen printing.
Yeah.
So there's a test, and this is something you need to look at, called the AATCC test. Now that stands for American Association of Textile Colorists and Chemists. So that's a test. They have a bunch of different tests, and the test method we use is for wash durability. And there's some of our competitors actually do publish this, but this is something else you should ask for. And here's what it is we'll print a shirt, we'll send it to this independent lab, they'll take the shirt and cut it in half, write down the design, boom. They'll take one half and keep it as a control. The other half they take and they put it into a washing machine that has these big steel balls, and it abrades the shirt. It's equal to 20 washings. After the washing, they bring it out, bring them back together with a control, and through a microscope, they look at the abrasion on the shirt. They rate it between a 0 and a 5. 0's bad, 5's the best. Now, any of you screen printers out there, if you use plastisol, in this test, properly cured plastisol gets a perfect 5. Epson, F2100 and F2000 ink gets a perfect 5, the same as screen printing. Now, that's impressive because you can tell your customer it's just as good as screen printing.
If properly pre-treated and cured.
Yes. Now that's another thing. If you use the proper pre-treat. Now this is done with Epson genuine pre-treat, not a third party or any of that other stuff. So if you use Epson genuine pre-treat, Epson genuine ink, you cure it properly, you're going to get very good wash results. Now, you should ask for this.
What was the acronym? What was the acronym again? The
AATCC.
TCC.
American Association of Textile Colorists and Chemists.
Okay, awesome.
So if you go to the SGIA site, you can also read about AATCC. I think they have some seminars and things on that. But anyway, this is important too, because you don't want to buy a machine from somebody and they, have their ink with it, and, you wash it and the ink comes out, you don't want to see that happen. So make sure you look at the AATCC test. 5 is the best, 0 is the worst. It's very important.
Excellent information. Matt, I have heard of it, but I haven't heard of it in this context in a while. So I'm thrilled to know that the Epson scored 5 out of 5.
Yes.
And that, you know, again, it shines the light on how serious Epson takes this and the lengths to which you will go, you and the associate, you know, your group, your team, to make this possible, to give us the confidence to sell it and to give the buyer the confidence to market and produce finished goods.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important.
It's all of us in the chain. The supply chain
has
that increased confidence. Epson is taking care of us. We don't have to make up some flim flam story. We can brag about getting a score of 5, and the buyer can brag about the fact that, hey, if done proper, if I follow the correct procedures, I have a confidence that my client isn't going to come back and say, hey, which we've all experienced. If you've ever been in this business, I know I have, and screen printing, hey, why are these shirts washing out? Look, 8 of them were great, but these 2, they're like, what happened? You know.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Greaves can tell you some stories about the 70s with heat transfers, and I can too, you know.
But it's amazing to think about that. And of course, stuff could still happen. I understand the process isn't perfect. That's not my point, but it's the confidence that, and I'm so glad you brought this AATCC up, because that was great. That was bonus info, folks. For those of you who tuned in, that was off the script and awesome. Thank you, Matt.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right. Anything else there to add? Because I almost went forward and
see.
I know I have to be more patient. I can't just jump right in and say, hey, guess what? Okay. So question 4 we just covered about the inks. Now we're here at question 5. And there's a follow-up question that I don't want to shock you, but someone has emailed me a special question to ask you. But question 5: what should I know about maintenance before, again, emphasis on before buying a printer? What should I know?
Well, again, to repeat myself yet again, before you should buy a printer, you need to understand about maintenance. And what you should do is you should ask for the printer manual. You know, one thing about Epson is, and I'm not just saying this because I work here, is they're very transparent. You know, you can go on the Epson site and download, like I was talking before, you can download Garment Creator, you can download just about any document that you want. You should go on there, you should download and look at the printer manual, or ask if they don't have it, whatever printer you're looking at, and read about the maintenance. You know, don't trust a sales guide that's telling you, oh yeah, our printer, you never have to do any maintenance on it. I've heard that before.
It's maintenance free.
Yeah. Nothing's maintenance free. You know, you got to change oil in your car, right? There's all kind of things that you have to do. There's certain things that you have to do, and you should understand this before buying a printer. There's a lot of false information out there. I saw a video the other day where someone was claiming the 2100 that you had to take all the white ink out of the machine once a month. That's not true. That hasn't been the case since the F2000, you know. You don't have to do that.
So is that just old info that somebody found on the internet?
No, it's somebody just trying to confuse customers.
Okay.
And that's why you can't be confused. You have to know. So download the manual, look at maintenance. At Epson, you can download our maintenance schedule right now. If you go to Epson.com, F2100, go to downloads, you can download it and look at it. We're very upfront about it. You know, an inkjet printer, no matter which brand you buy, has to have some type of maintenance, especially if you're running white ink. White ink has certain things that have to happen. Now, one of the beauties of Epson is we have a 2-year shelf life on our ink. Okay. Now, a lot of people are like, 2 years, I'm going to use it all up in 2 years. Well, that's not the thing you should focus on. It's that the ink on a 2-year shelf life, what that means is our ink doesn't separate and fall out of suspension. And you're like, now, Matt, what are you talking about? Well, you ever,
okay, Matt, what does that mean?
Well, you ever want to paint an accent wall in your house and you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and
one time
buy
I did
some
that
paint?
One time.
What was it, purple or was it red?
No, it was white.
Wall?
Come on now, don't get carried away.
So anyway, you go to Lowe's or Home Depot and you get the paint and they always have to shake it up. Well, remember the one time that you went there and you didn't do it? You were like, yeah, I'll just shake this up at home. And you get home and you open it up and it's like, wow, there's this real thick, clear liquid on top. And about 4 inches below that is just a bunch of white. And you stick your stir in there and man, it's really hard. Well, what's happened is the ink and the pigment has fallen out of the suspension. And the clear is the carrier agent. Well, in DTG, if you have an ink that has a short shelf life, what happens is the ink falls out of suspension and it clogs in your tubes, your print head and all that. Remember the old days of DTG, all the print head clogs with white ink? Remember that,
gosh,
Jay?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I still
that's
have nightmares. Because the ink would settle, right? The ink would,
yes, the ink
there was no longer going to be it wouldn't be properly mixed in suspension.
Mm-hmm.
The pigment or something would fall out of that and it would create massive drama.
Right. So that's still the case today. So make sure you look at what is the shelf life on your ink. The longer the shelf life, the better it stays in suspension. Now, you should still shake your cartridges and things like that, which should be detailed in the printer's manual. But you want to, again, to repeat myself again, is you want to download or you want to ask for the manual. You want to read through all the procedures. You don't want to trust somebody or some guy on the internet telling you, oh, this machine does this, that. You want to see for yourself. A good, upstanding manufacturer of equipment will detail all of that in the manual because, you know, like at Epson, we want you to be successful. We want your machine to work perfectly. So we're going to tell you what it takes to keep that machine running.
Awesome. Love it. Matt, thank you for that. Thank you for helping us grab a better perspective about the ink. And we kind of went on a deep dive there. But I learned a lot of things actually. I wrote down quite a few notes. Matt, the special question that somebody emailed me, they were asking about, because this keeps coming up, our team hears this, I'm sure you've heard it. What's up with the F3070?
Right.
Apparently there is some misinformation. Of course, there has to be an F3070.
Always.
What can you tell us about this next generation printer?
Okay. First off, to dispel the big false rumor.
The false rumors are that the F2100 is going away. That's false.
Yes, that's not true. This is not, the F3070 is not a replacement for the 2100. The 2100 is still going to be here. If you look at Epson's lineup, if you go to our website and go to our professional imaging page, you will see most of our products, like for instance, DyeSub. We have different models. We have a desktop model. We have the next size up, and then we have even a large format. So you go from a 570 to a 6 series to a 9 series. The same with DTG. We're going to have the 2100, which is for 90% of the people on this call. And then for the larger guys that want to manufacture like 10,000 shirts a month, we are now going to have a new printer called the F3070. Now, big difference is the F3070 is going to print approximately a shirt a minute. It's really fast.
Wow, that is fast.
And the suggested price is going to be around $50,000. So that's a lot more expensive than a 2100, you know.
For significantly.
Most customers, the 2100 is adequate, or they may buy two 2100s, and that's perfectly great. But for the larger guys, we are now offering a large machine that is called the F3070. It has a lot of, its big thing is it's fast. It's fast.
It was built for an increased production, correct?
Yes, and
It's a
that's what
bigger,
it's
it's a
for.
bigger printer. I saw it in January. I saw in your booth and super impressed. Obviously, the speed and the yields, the quality. Yeah, I saw no different in quality. So if anything, it was a
Yeah,
bigger, faster printer.
it is. And hey, here's the other thing. It's using the same ink as what's in the 2100. So you're getting the same durability, the same quality. It's all going to match up.
Okay, so
It's going to
just
be a
one more
great
time,
machine.
just to repeat, you heard it here first on the Equipment Zone. Easy interviews with Matthew Rhome. The F2100 is not being replaced.
No, it's
Not.
not being replaced by
That's
the
awesome news.
3070.
Of course, we're
Yes.
excited for the bigger printer too, but I think that's a testament to your R&D team and your development team and everybody
Well,
here in
Jay,
America.
here's the thing. A lot of people tell me, well, we're going to hold off because we hear a new printer's coming out. And, you know, they could be losing out on business because they don't understand about the new printer. So I hope this has kind of cleared things up a little bit for them.
Totally has. And
Yeah.
that makes a ton of sense. That's exactly what we would recommend. Obviously, people are going to assume, oh, you're just in sales and that's why you're selling it. It's like, no, I'm not in sales.
I'm not in
And
sales.
yeah. And the reason I'm saying it is because this is your on-ramp to that business. So wouldn't you rather, if you were going to stumble a little bit, wouldn't you rather stumble in a $15,000 price range than a $50,000 price range? And oh, by the way, you still are going to have awesome prints and make money with the F2100.
Well,
So
here's the thing. If you're going to go down to pick up some 2x4s at the lumber yard, you need 3 or 4. You're not going to take a semi truck down there. You're going to take your pickup truck.
correct.
You know, it's what you need for the proper tool for the job. So
Correct.
buy the proper tool.
So would I be fair in my assumption that that printer was not developed to be a mobile print on site, print on demand type printer?
I can't answer that question yet.
Oh, I stumped him. Okay,
The machine
sorry.
is not
But so
on
let
the
me
market
go
yet.
backwards. Let me go backwards. The F2100 is a
It is a
perfect
mobile,
choice
great
for a
machine.
mobile print on
Yes.
site, print on demand.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to paint you into that corner.
No, you're fine. That's great.
Okay.
It's just not released yet.
The
So there's
specifics
certain
of the
things we
details.
don't talk
Okay.
about yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Roger that. Okay. Last question. Let's wrap up here. Matt, maybe you could tell us a little bit about this. I'm gonna put you on the spot now. A little bit about you, maybe. So this is maybe more personal than you thought, but I think it's really cool that you shared as much time as you have. I'd like to end on a positive and let people get to know you a little bit better. But would you say, Matt, that the DTG printer is one of your greatest accomplishments?
Whoa, Jay, that's a great question.
A little loaded, right? A little loaded.
Yeah, it is.
Are you sitting down, Matt?
Here's the thing. Yeah, I actually am. My greatest accomplishment was convincing my wife to marry me. Okay, that was my greatest accomplishment. Okay.
Okay. Second, then.
But yeah, I think so. The thing though I'm most proud of is the fact that there's so many people because of my invention. There's so many people that are able to have a livelihood that use my machine to generate money to put their kids through college and to make their mortgage payment. I'm really proud of that. You know, the thing is there's a lot of people selling machines. Man, I'm tearing up now. That are just in it to make a fast buck. There's a lot of guys out there, and that's why I do these webinars and why I do the seminars. I feel like, you know, I started this thing a long time ago, and I want people to be successful. I don't want people to come up to the show and say they bought a machine from XYZ and it doesn't work and they need help. I want people to get a good experience. So that's why I hope people take the information that I'm giving. I'm not trying to sell you something or steer you somewhere, but just to get your eyes open, you know.
Open your eyes, Matt. I can see you now.
Yeah.
I appreciate what you just said, and thank you for sharing your heart. As I've gotten to know you over the years, I know your commitment to the process and your commitment to being real and transparent. Of course, you work for Epson, but knowing that you want to see the success in others, it's a character it's a character builder for me to get to be able to hang out with you, because you have that passion, you have that drive, and you want to see folks succeed. So how cool is that? I appreciate you sharing that with us today, Matt. And if there's nothing else, I did see that Richard shared a link. So if you are following along in the chat, you could go find that testing methods. Thank you, Matt, for talking about on-site repair, for talking about extended warranties, for talking about the SDS and the AATCC and Okitex and all of these details, which are going to give our listeners, our viewers, and our customers and our future customers the right information to feel confident about investing in themselves first, to take that leap of faith, that entrepreneurial spirit, but also to do it with us. That's why we're doing these webinars, is we want to make sure that we can help build that platform of security. So we appreciate your time, Matthew. I can't wait to see you again in person live, as my microphone almost decided to take a dive. Can't wait to get back to see you live at a trade show sometime soon in the future. Any parting words? Anything before we say goodbye?
Yeah, here's something I want to say too. Is I just got a chat from someone that says, you know, why should they buy a machine now? You know, here's the thing. Right now, I know a lot of people are locked down because of Corona. A lot of people still home. You should buy the machine now instead of wait. Things are going to pick up. Okay. Here in my little town, we're starting our youth softball league in 2 weeks. They all need uniforms. Things are picking up. Right now, you need to get the machine, start to learn it, understand it. So when things break loose in a few weeks, you'll know how to use the product. Don't wait.
Jump now. Go now is what you're saying.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate it again, Matt. And this is for those of you who did not know that we have a tech support team. We do. For those of you who didn't have a clue as to what our website is, here it is, equipmentzone.com. And also, if you're a fan of these webinars, if you picked up some great information, we would appreciate if you would share a little bit about your positive experiences on Facebook, on Instagram, and for sure, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're one of the few resellers and dealers of Epson that have dedicated themselves to training videos. We have posted over, I want to say it's close to 20 videos in the last 10 weeks. And they're not all sales commercials and pitches. We're trying to provide value too. So check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and otherwise we appreciate it. Again, Matt, saying goodbye.
See y'all later.
See y'all later.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
Somebody famous said that.
Yeah. Buddy Epson.